Hello everybody, it's Lorraine, Alternative Homesteading on March 14, 2026. I hope everybody's doing well. Welcome back to my channel, and we're going to discuss a very serious topic: symptoms of electronic harassment in stages. And thank you, subscriber, for sending me this article. I read through it. It took me a while. I read through some of the other documents, and the importance of this document should not be understated, because there are so many people out there that experience these symptoms and have no idea that they are being assaulted by these energy weapons. They go to the doctor, they get falsely diagnosed, misdiagnosed, etc., etc. And again, this is for educational purposes only. I'm reading an article. So here we have the symptoms of extremely high and extremely low EMFs, which is electromagnetic fields, and directed energy weapons, which is DEW, and not the raindrops on the plants. Please keep in mind that not all symptoms are experienced in the exact order, that you may experience the worst symptoms first or the least symptoms at a later stage. So you will experience symptoms depending on the method of electronic stalking used on you or by your perpetrators. And I'm going to add, it will affect you differently depending on your original health, your lifestyle, whether or not you can protect yourself, shield yourself, etc. My cushion just moved. And everybody's going to experience it differently also, based upon who is handling your torture. So some of the first stages are visual hallucinations. Both adults and children should attempt to carefully sense whether they feel a shock or see lights as they drift off to sleep. Seeing colored lights is commonly reported. Being able to see colored lights inside your home is most likely contributed to the use of microwave induction and possibly via a neurophone device by your perpetrators. These types of devices are suggestive apparatus which stimulate our minds and think that we're seeing actual lights. However, we may actually be seeing regular lights. Lights can be due to the use of lasers aimed through the walls by the stalkers, especially in the dark. So they're easier for a target to detect and be sensitive to and aware of. Extreme eye redness or feelings of grittiness, like something is stuck in your eye or your eyelid. This symptom causes a target to rub their eyes to alleviate the symptoms, which in turn increases the discomfort and the gritty feeling and intensifies the redness. Extreme eye redness comes from several things. One, it can be a health problem like liver disease or pink eye, or bacterial or viral infection. It can be from eye trauma, or even something like poison ivy or some other irritant getting rubbed into the eye. Number two, this eye redness can be from sheer exhaustion, just from being tired. From looking at a laptop, a computer screen and stuff. I remember when I was in graduate school, I would stay up really late doing work, and my eyes would be so tired. And sometimes I get little twitches in my eyes just from looking at the screen too much. And actually, after I graduated, it all completely disappeared. However, in the case of gang stalking, eye redness and grittiness is something that occurs in the eyes after demodulation of energy hits the head, and lots of it. Energy demodulation is sent at two precise sections of the brain. The first being the temporal lobe. This is the side of the brain closest to your ears and on the outside of our eyes. This area of the brain is responsible for short-term memory and in how we interpret vision and sound. And the reason they target this area also is because they do not want you to record short-term memory. This is an agenda here. Okay, so the second area that is heavily attacked during directed energy assaults is the occipital lobe, located at the back lower part of our brain. This is the visual cortex of the brain. If both of these areas are targeted by high energy attacks, the results are breakdown of eye tissue and also breakdowns in the area of the brain used for memory, listening, and sight. According to the dictionary, demodulate means to extract, which is a modulating signal, from its carrier. The signal is passed through a filter of 300 kilohertz and demodulated, meaning it's being extracted, it's being pulled out of. Other things that cause red eyes and gang stalking are laser weapons, and possibly just the higher frequencies themselves. Long-term exposure and saturation of radiation will also break eye tissue down. With the assaults by directed energy weapons or ringing in the ears or tone bursts may be noted as well. Again, it is the temporal lobe of the side of the head of the brain that allows us to determine sound. The temporal lobe is also responsible for how we interpret hearing, and is most likely the area of the brain that takes in energy demodulation and electrical charge, which then breaks down brain cells and opens up the mind to interpret hearing through our brain tissue. Ringing can occur when various pitches, constant, intermittent, occurring in both ears or in one ear only. The reason for the possibility on both sides of being affected is we have two temporal lobes in our brain, one on each side of the brain. Sound interpreted in gang stalking can sound like a low rumbling noise or like a buzzing mosquito, for example. Victims report feelings of discomfort that accompanies the noise. Some report the noise being loud enough to cause excruciating pain, and this would be in the ears or the inner ear, and possibly include headaches. Also noted were clicking noises inside the head. Many report hearing clicks in their sinuses and or their ears has also been noted. Unaccountable increase in heart rate, rapid heart rate. This symptom and the following symptoms are most likely experienced after high levels of microwave energy are aimed at you. It could be a widespread energy surrounding you in an open area, or it could be directed signal aimed precisely at your body or head. According to Mercola.com, a study conducted by Magna Havas at Trent University found that the levels of microwave frequency radiation we see in home kitchens is significant enough to affect both the heart rate and heart rate variability. Just the radiation that you have in a regular home kitchen. So some symptoms are nervousness, anxiety, agitation, irritability. Aggravated reactions also have been reported. Manipulation of body parts. Muscles are pulsed and or contracted involuntarily. Feet, legs, arms, and individual fingers can be made to move by sudden jerking. Motion can be slow and controlled. This often occurs at night in bed, although it can occur anywhere at any time. The reason this symptom is to keep you from falling asleep, or to wake you up after you've fallen asleep, or merely used to make you careless and have an accident. Whichever way or method or however you're being hunted or stalked, for example, through electronic brain signals and activity, voice modulation and activation, a chip in your body, or even heat sensing of your body. Since the electrical activity is how the gang stalker locates us for the most part. It's also how we're located when we begin to nod off at night. Energy in electrical field changes in brightness and flow and will be noted from an awake state. This change in your brain would show instant changes as you start drifting off. A lot of targets call this RNM, or remote neural monitoring. And yes, that would be the gist of it. All having to do with signals being emitted from our brains. In essence, we're all being monitored this way. In other words, your perp knows that you're getting sleepy and you don't really know or understand how. They know the exact moment you're going to start to fall asleep and then send signals to abruptly awaken you. Basically, it turns out that our own bodies will tell on us and let our perpetrators know when we are nodding off, or even if we're asleep. This is a new find. It's probably something that has been present the whole time, but a few targets discuss or talk about it. That is, these are electrical charges or currents that travel through your mattress and into your body. These electrical charges or currents ends at your body, and it's often accompanied by jerking, demodulation, or nauseating electrical puffs of air. Your stomach will feel quivery and excited, but this is not in a good way. This is the only way I can describe it. If you want to block this unwanted electrical device or wave from reaching you, you will need to find the entry point of energy flow, either coming through the floor or a low wall, and then place a rare earth magnet over the site and tape it in place with duct tape. You will need to look for low readings under your bed. There is something more than one site of entry. Use more blocking materials. So she goes on to say, see my books on how to block. Go to page Books That Define the Experience. This page will take you to Amazon where you can purchase the books. And then, of course, there are sexual attacks. This is really depraved. Many people report the sensation of having the genitalia manipulated. Men and women report this. It involves tingling, prickling, arousal, or pain in the genital area, and is particularly disturbing and traumatizing, with the accompanying sensation of being severely violated. Given the artificial electronic nature of it, there's no question that it's not by any stretch a natural occurrence. Included in this category would be erection or erectile dysfunction, compressed vertebrae upon waking, extremely low back tightness, overall bone pain, and bone throbbing and discomfort. Sensitivity to sound, and this is due to overall saturation of the brain with EMFs and ELFs modulation. And over time, the use of high energy can break down the brain and hearing completely. Depression, mood changes, ELFs, which is extremely low frequencies, are most commonly the cause of this, since a person cannot hear the frequencies. Instead, a person can only feel a heaviness and pressure in both the body and the mind. Then there may be minor spasms in Charlie horses. These symptoms occur when something is aimed at the body or by signals interpreted by our brains in relation to the body part. You may feel a piercing sensation on the skin, and this involves the feeling that the skin is being pierced by a needle. Some report this as painful, while others only experience it mildly. Piercing sensation on the skin, well, this involves the feeling that the skin is being pierced by a needle, and some report this is very painful. Some targets state that they have a light burning sensation over the arms and legs, or find burn marks on their arms, legs, and stomach, or anywhere for that matter. If a microwave weapon is being used, burns are common. Internal burning sensations occur in this category, and in this instance can be lethal because your internal organs are being cooked. The U.S. military uses a non-lethal weapon called an active denial system that employs millimeter waves, which are a type of microwave, contrary to what the military website says. And this is to heat up the surface of the person's skin. It may cause an inability to concentrate, again, from demodulation and high frequencies. This would be a tearing down of the person's body. So there may be loss of memory, fogginess, forgetfulness, due to demodulation and frequencies secondary to the electromagnetic radiation and high saturation levels of radiation on the brain. You might feel mild pressure in the head, a cloudy feeling that would be included in the symptom. You may experience some night sweats and also day sweats, and even in cooled air conditioning or cold weather. Your ears may feel sensitive to the touch. There might be a burning feeling in the ear or earlobe. Upon waking, you might find that the muscles in your back are tingling as if they're being electrified. GERD, which would be difficulty in swallowing or other stomach, esophagus, intestinal problems, and then diarrhea, severe arthritis, muscle aches, and bone aches. Blurred eye vision. This may or may not improve with prescription eyewear. Teeth snap together when you're drowsy. Grinding of teeth and tooth pain in the morning is a possibility. Of course, then there's sleep deprivation, the loss of sleep, and this is commonly reported and achieved in a number of ways, but usually involves excessive noise, demodulation, and waves of energy being sent into your head from above. It might even be through your mattress or under you or the floor that you're laying on. You may experience sudden anxiety attacks that come out of nowhere. Some people experience a racing or pounding heart just as they're about to go to sleep. Sometimes your nails will become wavy. Water and cellulite accumulations on the upper thigh and buttocks from cellular fluids displaced generally from the head and upper body, especially in women, where those fluids find ready redistribution in those areas. There might be a change in your tone of the internal voice, like confusion or water. Is it your own thought or not? You might actually wake up in extreme pain, spontaneous tears without emotional thinking, breaking down and crying and not knowing why. Sinus problems. Those who suffer from sinus problems report to be very painful and agitating, with the sinuses filling up and pulsing, often preventing sleep from occurring. There's the increased need to urinate even during the night. Now don't get this confused, because you have your own history of going to the bathroom frequently at night. Some people just have bladders that want to empty often, commonly referred to as overactive bladder. You may experience hair loss, eyebrows thinning, eyelash disappearance. Although these types of hair loss can be attributed to normal hormonal and thyroid changes as we age, there's the fact that if you're being gang stalked, you're being subjected to large amounts of radiation secondarily to directed energy assault. You might start feeling puffs of air on your face and back or the side of your head due to demodulation near the surface of the skin. This demodulation is probably mostly felt somewhere on the skull and not elsewhere. This is because demodulation of energy is used to break down brain tissue and tissues in the face and eyes. And as far as the head, first comes the modulation, then you get this puffy sound, this PFFT sound, and a feeling like an electrical snapping charge. And then you formally get the V2K and V2K commands. So normally it would be in that order. Then, of course, some people hear voices or some kind of abnormal sounds. About half of targeted people hear voices or unwanted sounds, like clanging bells, for example. The voices heard by targets are often identified to be voices of those who are perpetrating the crime. The technology exists to transmit sound via signal waves to inside people's heads, bypassing the ears altogether, and this is called microwave induction. It is radio waves and microwaves that carry converted, tangible, and very audible signals to sound. Some report hearing voices outside of their heads, as though there's a speaker inside their home somewhere. Sensation that blood is trickling into localized areas of the brain and other parts of the body. This feeling is akin to the impression that these areas were devoid of blood. Then, of course, there's the usual street theater. Some people experience what's called street theater. It's a form of harassment that involves multiple stalkers participating in aggravating the target, very often involving noise campaigns. Then, of course, there's computer problems, although victims are certainly not alone in having computer problems. They report frequent issues with emails as well as general computer use. Other area or problems are text messages and phone calls. Your stalkers are most often nearby with a police stingray or a fake cell phone tower and can intercept your calls and watch your browsing history. Check your cell phone files often. It's in a list of storage areas on your phone, like DCIM and downloads. Select download, and if you're being spied on with this type of technology, you will see something called nearby share. Now you might also have this on your phone, but if you, where'd it go? I just missed it. But if you don't see it, beware. And then find a way to remove it by removing all connected sharing settings. The best bet, purchase a virtual VPN and do not use bank accounts or anything personal while using it. The person goes on to say, I turn my phone on airplane mode when I'm out running around. I do not need to talk or connect to others constantly. Since cell phones are highly probable for a target to be stalked, it's best to turn them off and use airplane mode when out and about. Also, make sure you have anti-identity theft purchase to protect your social security number, and always search your background or do a background check on yourself to make sure that someone is not trying to destroy your life for the whole country to see. Your home gets broken into and often found out of place. Things are found out of place. Food is tampered with or tainted. Clothes are ripped or torn. This method of harassment is a recurring method of attack by gang stalkers. This is the destruction of your property. Items are vandalized, but not to the degree that it would appear to be vandalism to someone else. This technique is called gaslighting. It's a form of subtle revenge. The purpose is to incur numerous small costs over time to the targeted individual, like putting nails in the driveway every other day and causing recurring flat tires, thereby raising stress levels. The gang stalking also helps to undermine a person psychologically by creating a sense of self-doubt and insecurity. Also a gang stalker, and he'll make a key of your home. And then this person can get in or allow other gang stalkers to get in and out of your house without detection, and can only be stopped with a good door jam or window jam, which forces a stalker to either break glass or be found out or to walk away from the intended target. From experience that stalkers have the capability to stop your camera from filming them. This I know because it's happened to me 20 times. I will film a situation involving the gang stalkers using an SD camera card. Then, when I check the camera and the SD card, the footage up to capturing my gang stalkings on film is there, but the actual activity that I wanted to see was missing entirely. This happens to me with overly flying aircraft that are involved as well. I will have the video up to the plane or the helicopter overhead, and then only the footage after the craft has passed is present. The actual footage of the aircraft flying over is entirely missing between the beginning and end, and I'm guessing they're using sophisticated equipment that can jam or black out a lens. And then there's the EMP, which is the electromagnetic pulse device, which knocks out all electrical devices. So if you're considering any security system, don't bother. Hacking is a big part of who gang stalkers are. Honestly, simple, old-fashioned blocks and barriers on your windows and doors are an immense help. This person goes on to say, I've used SD card cameras only to have them destroyed by my gang stalkers. They use some type of device to knock out the night vision capability, and I'm guessing a red laser aimed at my camera lens or in the dark. Well, remember, most of these people, they're former military, so it's quite possible they're using more sophisticated technology. Now, if you're being followed, pay attention to this. Note anyone being behind your car for an extended period of your drive. If you suspect that you're being followed, pull into a side street and let the car behind you pass. If the car follows you, turn again and again.